Hi, my name is Marcos Martinez. I am 26 years old and I live in Lorenzo, Texas. It's a very, very small town with around population of about a little over 1,000. So it's not the biggest. I'd say it's one of the smaller suburban towns of Lubbock, Texas. The town's not very big, the town's not very rich. So the reason I bring this up is because this directly influences the school that was there, the school that I had the pleasure of attending throughout my high school career. The school here has an average graduating student amount of about between 12 and 18 students, which I can go ahead and testify to that because my graduating class was around 16. The budget for the school, the research that I've done, is it has around $30,000 to put into educational resources such as books, technological advances, any sort of thing that you could do to push the school forward. Now, from my personal experience, this school really pushed college onto us. There was multiple school fairs and there was multiple workshops where they tried to teach you how to do FAFSA and how to apply for scholarships and anything else that would actually help boost your ability to go to college. But did that actually help? Because I can tell you right now, from the people that I reached out to, of the 16 people that I graduated with, only about maybe 4 of them actually attended college, and 1 actually graduated. With as pushy as they were when it came to college, why is it that not a lot of students actually went to college? For some, pursuing the workforce was a better option. For others, life got in the way and they started a family. So my question is why does this school continue to push a higher education when the results come back that most of the students don't even go? Now, to try and figure this out, I tried to reach out to some of my old former students and some of my old teachers. And out of maybe 15 that I reached out to, only 3 responded.
What's your name?
My name is Mari Martinez.
Okay. And where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Lorenzo High School. I went to LCU for a semester and then it got too expensive, so I dropped out. We all just we grew up together. Since it's such a small school, we went from pre-K to graduating together. Mm-hmm. It was always the same, more or less. But we definitely felt like over-pushed in our high school years. I know a lot of high schools like to prepare us for college. That's their main focus, is to prepare us for college. Mm-hmm. But when they become obsessed with that thought and that concept of us going to college, it almost seems like they pass over what each individual wants to do with their life. I feel like if they knew the proper tools, mm-hmm. and if they individualized a plan for each student, and I know that with bigger schools, it's hard to be more individualized, but as students, we are not just a number. We are people, and we are our own person. Nobody's the same. So to individualize certain plans for students, mm-hmm. I feel like would be very helpful. Because when you treat each student the same, we're not all going to go on the same path, mm-hmm. when it comes to education. Most of our teachers could really care less. There was a handful that really cared about pursuing a higher education, but it was more of the principal and the higher up people. But they never really asked what we needed. They just told us to do this because you need to. And
Did they ever explain why?
no, I feel like as young adults, we don't know what we're preparing for. So when we're in the dark, we're going to be resistant to what people are telling us. I feel like it was a decent amount of exposure with including us in dual credit classes and letting us visit campuses around our local area. But I feel like you can never truly capture what it's like to be in college until you're at college. Out of 17, I would say about 7 of us, actually I would say about 10 of us attended college, but the people who graduated were 3 out of 17.
Do you feel like our high school did enough to prepare you for college?
No.
But also what disappoints me a little bit is the fact that, you got the other half that since their parents didn't go to school, I mean, there wasn't much of a push to make them go to school either to their kids. And it's sort of created, to me, from what I saw, was it just created a cycle.
Yeah.
If the parents didn't go, more than likely the kids weren't going to go either. It wasn't that important. And those who did push their kids, and they also had some kind of training, whether it was a university or even a trade school, they would at least push them a little bit and so on. But I don't know. I think probably the biggest thing is that I've noticed is that here locally, here at Lorenzo High School, I mean, I think it's more of a push to go to college and so on, from what I've seen. But I think it's gotten a little better about that. But I don't know. It seems like the requirements to get into school have gotten a little bit tougher as well, though. And there's been a big turnover. Not to mention, I think money's also a factor.
Yeah.
The financial aid and things like that is also a factor. And of course, when you got students that are still in high school that become parents, I'm just thinking, my gosh, they're going to struggle big time.
Absolutely.
When they're starting out poor, they're going to be poor. But of course, I mean, they're going to improve their situation, but it's just going to take a lot of support.
The teachers can only do so much, and despite all their efforts, it's up to the student. It really is. And there's a lot of factors that go into it, but the bottom line is that college isn't for everyone. Yeah, there was those teachers who were there to make a paycheck and were there to basically just sell you a college education. But to the ones that actually cared, the ones that actually stood by the students, despite what they wanted to do, those are the ones that we're going to remember. Those are the ones that we'll come to in the long road and say, hey, I made it. Not going to college isn't a bad thing like, oh, our school told us it was. You can still make a life. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, small schools like Lorenzo just aren't cut for nurturing a college education. If someone sees this down the line and they're in this same situation, I would definitely encourage them to go to a bigger school, to go somewhere where you can be nurtured, to where you can be pushed towards a college education, if that's the route that you want to take. If not, small schools like this are fine. I want to thank the people who actually responded to my questions. I want to thank my teacher for giving me this opportunity to actually try and learn about this. Thank you all for listening, and have a good one.